I think we are all here, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's begin the meeting. Welcome everybody to the meeting of the Committee on Public Services. Madam Chair.
Commissioner.
Madam Clerk. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Varga.
Here.
Commissioner Palomera.
Here.
Commissioner Hadis.
Present.
Commissioner Daub.
Here.
Commissioner Baydoun.
Here.
Commissioner Ware.
Present.
Chair Marecki.
Here. Next item.
B, approval of the October 6, 2020 meeting minutes.
So moved. So moved. Support.
Okay. I think I heard Commissioner Palomera.
Baydoun.
Baydoun. Do the approval, and the support was?
Hadis.
Commissioner Hadis. Okay. Any questions or comments about the minutes of last meeting? Okay, Madam, all those in favor of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, item passes. Next item, Madam Clerk.
C, old business. There is none.
Okay, next item.
Item D1 under new business, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 1-year professional engineering services contract with a 1-year option to renew with Wade Trim Associates.
Okay, this is for engineering services for Jefferson Road. Any questions? Okay.
Support.
Who moves to approval?
Commissioner Ware. Support by Commissioner Hadis. Any questions from the commissioners? Okay, Madam Clerk, will you do a roll call on this, please?
Commissioner Varga.
Yes.
Commissioner Palomera.
Yes.
Commissioner Hadis.
Yes.
Commissioner Daub.
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun.
Yes.
Commissioner Ware.
Yes.
Chair Marecki.
Yes. Motion passes. Next item.
Item 2, requesting commission approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Dearborn.
I will move for approval, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Support.
Okay, we have an approval by Commissioner Baydoun, supported by Commissioner Varga. This is for park work in Dearborn. I have a question. Commissioner Baydoun, is the pool still at this park? This is for the pool house, right?
Yeah, the pool is there. They're working on the pool house.
Okay. So the pools is still there.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Any questions from commissioners? Okay, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Commissioner Varga.
Yes.
Commissioner Palomera.
Yes.
Commissioner Hadis.
Yes.
Commissioner Daub.
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun.
Yes.
Commissioner Ware.
Yes.
Chair Marecki.
Yes. Motion passes. Next item.
Item 3, requesting commission approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Lincoln Park.
Okay.
Move approval.
All right.
Support.
Okay, we have an approval by Commissioner Varga, supported by Commissioner Hadis. Any questions on this? It's another park, great park improvement. Okay, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll on this?
Commissioner Varga.
Yes.
Commissioner Palomera.
Yes.
Commissioner Hadis.
Yes.
Commissioner Daub.
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun.
Yes.
Commissioner Ware.
Yes.
Chair Marecki.
Yes. Item passes. Next item.
Item 4, requesting commission approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Trenton.
Okay. Okay, another park improvement in Trenton. Any questions?
Move approval.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Joey.
we have an approval by Commissioner Varga, supported by Commissioner Palomera.
Thank you.
Any questions on this? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Varga.
Yes.
Commissioner Palomera.
Yes.
Commissioner Hadis.
Yes.
Commissioner Daub.
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun.
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Chair Marecki,
Yes. Item passes. Next item.
Item 5, requesting commission approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Township of Van Buren.
So move.
Okay.
Support.
Support.
Okay. We have an approval by Commissioner Haddis and
Commissioner Dobb supports.
okay, Commissioner Dobb. I could not tell who said that first. Okay, any questions on this? All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Commissioner Palomera,
Yes.
Commissioner Haddis,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baidoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Chair Marecki,
Yes. Next item.
Item 6, requesting commission approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Taylor.
Okay, for their Heritage Park Petting Farm.
I'll move for
Move
approval. Support.
Okay, I could not tell who made that motion.
Varga.
Varga.
How you doing?
Varga and Baidoon.
Okay, Varga and Baidoon. Any questions on this? Okay, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll on this?
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Commissioner Palomera, Commissioner Palomera,
Yes, I'm sorry. I was on mute. Sorry, yes.
Commissioner Haddis,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baidoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Chair Marecki,
Yes. Item passes. And sorry, usually when someone talks, it kind of lights up on the bottom, and it's not doing that for me today. That's why I'm having a hard time determining who said what for the motions. Okay, next item.
Item 7, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 3-year contract with the 1-year option to renew with Concrete Cutting and Breaking Company.
Okay, this is for a wide range of services. Any questions on this from the commissioners?
Move approval.
Support.
All right, we have an approval by Commissioner Palomera, supported by Commissioner Baidoon. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Commissioner Palomera,
Yes.
Commissioner Haddis,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baidoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Chair Marecki,
Yes. Item passes. Next item.
Item 8, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a grant agreement with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
Okay, if there's a discussion on this number of 700,000 was an error. It's going to be 770,000. This will be changed before full board. Are there questions on this? Alicia's on, Alicia Bradford. Alicia, can you just give us an update on this? I know it's to continue a partnership with the ARC, but maybe you just have an update.
Thank you. I'm not sure if Noel or Patrick are on. If they are, definitely Noel or Patrick can speak to this. It does benefit parks, but environmental, and Noel serves as the project lead for this grant. But if neither of them are on, I can speak to it.
Commissioner,
So
I am on. This is Noel Mullet, EPS.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Environmental Services Division.
Okay.
Yeah, we are moving along. The ARC has done a fair amount of the preliminary engineering and begun to put together the permit applications for these projects. The COVID was a bit of a slowdown. We also had some administrative issues getting the contract right with EPA. So with that, we asked for and have been granted this 1-year extension, kind of a routine extension because of the COVID slowdown across the GLRI projects. We,
It's moving along.
but it's moving along. We also, the funding has been provided to the ARC to begin the implementation on these once the designs are done. So things are moving along very, very well.
Okay, great. Thank you for that update. Commissioners, do you have any questions on this one? Okay, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
We need a motion.
Oh, yeah, we need a motion, sorry.
So moved.
Okay, Commissioner Baidoon.
Support, Dobb.
Commissioner Dobb supporting. Okay, now, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Commissioner Palomera,
Yes.
Commissioner Hattis,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baidoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Chair Marecki.
Yes, motion passes. Next item.
Item 9, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to an intergovernmental agreement with Redford Township.
Okay, this is to extend their agreement to the Claude Allison Park. Questions on this?
Move approval.
Okay.
Support.
All right, we have an approval by Commissioner Vargas, supported by Commissioner Baidoon. All right, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll on this one?
Commissioner Varga,
Yes.
Commissioner Palomera,
Yes.
Commissioner Hattis,
Yes.
Commissioner Dobb,
Yes.
Commissioner Baidoon,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Chair Marecki.
Yes. Item passes. Next item.
10, a discussion on speed bumps and road/bridge flooding.
Okay, 3 of the commissioners had asked to put these subject matters on for discussion. So I know there's some of the group from DPS is on board here. I'm not sure who's speaking to what, but let's start with the speed bump. Commissioner Dobb, do you want to introduce this at all about your wish to have this on?
Yeah, sure. So I don't have any prepared remarks, but
Yeah.
I have been approached by at least 2 groups of residents in my district for requesting, well, originally they wanted stop signs to be installed within their subdivisions due to an excessive amount of speeding because of streets that are being used as cut-throughs from main roads. We researched the topic and found that you cannot install a stop sign just to slow down traffic. Mm-hmm. So then they requested speed bumps or speed humps of some sort. And I don't know that there was a very robust discussion on that topic with Wayne County DPS. So that's why, I know that the city of Detroit is installing quite a few of these speed humps. That news just went out, I think, last month. So that's what prompted me to bring this back up to see if maybe we could, at Wayne County, do some sort of program that similar to what the city of Detroit is doing with the speed humps within neighborhoods to calm traffic and slow excessive speeding on certain streets.
Okay, and, I will say that I've had some requests also for these in Northville Township about the same time that Commissioner Dobb did. Is there someone from the administration that could address this?
Madam the Chair, I have a little remark on this.
Sure.
Is if those speed pump they request fell on a city or township road or county road, because if they fell under the city or the township, that it's the township or the city responsibility to put that. If it's the county road, then it's a county.
Well, the township roads are county roads. So
yeah, and for mine, they were all county roads.
Yeah, and mine too, county roads.
So that's what I want to talk about. Requests for speed bumps or speed humps on county roads, particularly within subdivisions.
Yep.
That's a good point, Commissioner Dobb. To that point, we've had a lot of issues in Dearborn, but this is a city issue, not the county. But I could see on residential streets within subdivisions why you would need speed bumps, because there's a lot of crazy drivers out there.
Yeah, and people are just worried that a child is going to be hit, or there's just going to be an accident. So,
Commissioner Dobb, I studied this very carefully with city officials in Dearborn. One of the pullbacks on something like this was, what do you do when you want to plow snow and put salt? And if there's an emergency, I guess there's a new speed bumps that are compatible, if you will, with the fire trucks and the ambulances, where it's not going to slow them down if they're responding to an emergency. That's something that maybe Ron can elaborate on from engineering.
right. Yeah, I know that was brought up. Also, potential damage to vehicles. But I think that I think that the city of Detroit is installing speed humps, which are different from bumps. So they might be a little more compatible with emergency vehicles and snow plowing, but I really don't know. This is just stuff that I've read in news articles. So that's why I wanted to bring in DPS and the engineers to talk about these issues.
Great. Is there somebody from the administration that's here to discuss this?
Steve here from DPS Roads Division.
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. So, when I came to the county, I worked for the city of Detroit. So they do humps, street humps. And the difference is that the street humps are plastic mechanism pieces that are put together across a roadway, versus a regular bump is a hot mix pavement feature. So actually, these speed bumps, they're actually a traffic calming device. They're designed for low speeds, like at 25 miles an hour and low, and basically residential area. But as far as for county roads, it's just not feasible. You got anything over 40 miles an hour. And at that time, any impact with the speed bump could cause a lot of liability to the county. It also can cause a lot of damage to vehicles, wear and tear on the car, alignments, shocks. So it's really not advantageous to have these put on county roads. Also, from a snow plowing.
Wait, Mr. Shea, I just want to stop you. I think we were talking about neighborhood roads, like subdivision roads.
Correct.
Like 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, so the ones that are in our townships, which are county roads.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're asking for.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier in my statement, it's really designed for subdivision streets. And then also you have to look at the fact that snow plowing, if we do have to go into neighborhoods and subdivisions with 6 inches or more snow, that means that at every hump or bump, we have to lift up the blade to go beyond that so we don't cause damage on that. And then there's maintenance involved with that as well. Who's going to maintain.
Steve, to that point, one of the discussions we had in Dearborn, with this kind of system, you would put it in the spring and you would remove it in the fall.
Are we talking about a speed hump, sir?
Yeah, the speed hump, you would just put them in when the weather breaks, like in the spring, maybe like late March, early April, and then you would remove them in the fall before snow falls. That was the discussion that was being discussed here in Dearborn when we were talking about something like this. So you don't keep it on the road, all year round, because it's going to be a challenge when you're plowing the roads and putting the the salt, especially if the road ice is up.
And is that what the city of Detroit is doing? They're putting, because I've seen the pictures and they look like, they're just a piece of material that's,
Detroit,
yeah.
I remember they do not remove the speed humps. They're usually left in place. And like I said, they pick up the last minute and they would have to leave a line of snow, or have to actually get out and shovel that strip by hand. It's and also to the commission, it's quite maintenance involved. Some pieces break off or some car goes really fast over it. Then those nails or screws that have to replace those. I mean, it's quite involved. I believe at one point in time there are 48 screws in those speed humps.
Madam the Chair,
epoxies with that.
Yes, Commissioner Haddis.
I have a question. I know been mentioned is all the township road. It's the county responsibility, but I have experience in the past. There's some subdivision. It's not the county responsibility. Is that accurate or not? Maybe somebody could address that.
Are you saying, Commissioner Haddis, is some of the neighborhood roads are not the county's responsibility, or that putting speed bumps wouldn't be that?
No, it's my understanding there's some of the subdivision, it's not the county responsibility. I need somebody to clarify that for me.
Some subdivisions are built as condominiums. Condominium roads are private roads and not county roads.
So that it's not the county responsibility.
In the condominium.
In condominium only?
Correct.
Okay.
But Ron, in certain subdivisions, like I know that from being a realtor, like in Canton, there are many subdivisions where it's the responsibility of the county to maintain those roads.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are platted subdivisions, and when they get constructed, the developer has to meet Wayne County standards for construction, and then at that point they do become part of the county responsibility. But a lot of developers now, we're seeing, building the condominiums so that they later become HOAs, right? So and they do that because the developer can build the road to lesser standards, and they don't have to comply because the county doesn't dictate what the road and how the road is made or constructed.
Originally, condominiums were built to look like apartment dwellings. Now they're being built to look like subdivisions.
Right.
And so you can't tell the difference without the paperwork.
Right. You know, the definition of condominium, it's a change. I wonder if the subdivision built and have homeowner association that charge the resident fee. I don't know how that become the county responsibility, because if it mentioned condominium or not, as Ron mentioned, there are a lot of condominium. It look like a regular subdivision. So where you draw the line?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Can I, so I just want to bring this back to that I am talking about county roads, secondary county roads within a township. The county is responsible for these roads.
Right.
So if the county is not willing to put a speed bump or a speed hump in on these roads where the residents are requesting it and having issues with speeding, could the homeowners association of that subdivision install a speed hump on a county road itself and maintain it itself? Would the county allow that? Can someone from DPS answer that?
So this is Elizabeth Taylor. Good morning. One of the issues with that is though that those speed bumps often, if put in after construction or post construction, they do tend to interrupt the natural drainage of the road, and so you may end up having a lot of issues with road drainage. Is another issue, but also, you know, it does add a maintenance issue and complicates that, as well as there's a lot of studies out there that show that people speed in between the speed bumps, so you'll get actually higher speeds because folks are trying to compensate for having to slow down while approaching the speed bump. So there is some data that suggests that maybe they're not as effective as people think they might be.
Okay.
Liz, are you talking about when you're talking about the drainage issues, are you talking about the bumps or the plastic humps?
It would be I would say both, because but more so obviously with the hot mix asphalt.
Right.
Right. Okay. But the plastic ones can also impede drainage of the water as well.
Go ahead, Commissioner Dobb, if you're still.
Thank you. So is there anything that we can do in these situations where we're approached by these neighborhoods that have these speeding problems? We can't put in a stop sign, we can't put in a speed bump or a hump. What can we do?
I mean, I've seen I took a tour of some of the traffic calming devices that the city of Detroit is using. And in one neighborhood, they actually reduced the width of the road using asphalt curbs. So, and they narrow the road, forcing people such that only one car in either direction can travel. So but again, you know, I've only seen that those were just placed this past summer. I haven't seen a lot of data to have a feeling for whether or not those are even effective.
Madam the Chair.
Wait, Commissioner Hattis, does Commissioner Dobb, do you want to say anything else?
It's to that point.
If I can just chime in one more thing too. I mean, obviously putting these in would take a considerable amount of resources away from, you know, maintaining our roads. So it's definitely a cost factor to the county as well.
Right, that just doesn't seem very practical for, yeah, okay. All right, I don't have anything else right now, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Hattis. Commissioner Hattis.
To that point.
Yes.
You know, I dealt with this issue in many different areas in my district. The bottom line is the local law enforcement should monitor those streets where they have those problems with the speeder, people making donut in the middle of the intersection, burning rubber. So the local police department should pay attention to those and start issue some ticket that get the message out to the people, and they start to realize it's hot spot. Not to speed, not to make donut with the car, burning rubber. And if the police department, for some reason, they didn't have enough patrolmen to enforce those rules, the chief could communicate with the sheriff department. They'd be glad to assist, because in one of the cases, I have a couple of municipalities involved and they give me the same reason, and I communicate with the chief and the sheriff department. He said the only thing they need to do, the chief of that police department communicate with the Wayne County Sheriff, and they assist them and send patrolmen to that area. So enforcing the speed limit, enforcing all the traffic rules need some time, law enforcement to make those violators paying attention. You do that, you're gonna get ticketed.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Baidoon.
Commissioner Haddis made very valid and good points, but also again, I researched a lot into this subject. Commissioner Dobb, one of the tools that you could use in your community is to ask the police department to put a speed monitoring at that road. You'll be surprised when people see a speed monitoring flashing. If they're speeding, they'll slow down. By having more enforcements, when people know that police officers are issuing tickets there, that's going to have a major impact on people who are speeding. When it comes to speed bumps, the ones that you build into the road, like an asphalt, I believe there's a way where they build the speed bump and they take into consideration the width of a fire truck or the ambulance, because a vehicle is a lot, the width is a lot narrower than the ambulance and the fire truck. So when they do it that way, they build it in mind that a fire truck or an ambulance can drive over this speed bump with ease, if you will, because the way they do it, they have the two wheels where it goes over. So there's different ways of designing to accommodate for the fire and EMS. Actually the monitoring of the speed is very effective, but you have to maintain it. You got to keep it there at certain times of the, like in the summertime. A lot of people summertime, when the weather breaks in the spring, they tend to go out and start testing these vehicles.
When I was on the, I remember when the state came through, when I was on the Livonia City Council, and the state came through and made everybody take their stop signs down because of what Commissioner Dobb had mentioned about, and I think Liz did too, about speeding up between stop signs. And boy, that went over like a lead balloon to the public. It's worked out okay. I mean, there hasn't been any problems once people got used to it, but I don't know. It seems like we could have more of a discussion. Commissioner Dobb, if you ever want to go out like to my area or your area, and we can take a look at these roads, I would be happy to do that. And maybe this is just something that we have further discussion about, because I'm sure there's things changing all the time as well. Like Commissioner Baidoon bringing up the fact that now they make them narrower so that the first responders can go over them without, hitting their head on the top of the truck. So maybe we can leave it. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. I just wanted to respond to the comments about the placing the speed indicator on the street. And I know that in the instances in my district, they've tried that and people are still speeding. I have communicated with my municipalities, police departments. They just don't have the bandwidth to have a police officer sitting there 24/7 to catch speeders. They have other things to do. So I just don't know what to tell these people that keep coming to me for an answer. So
to that point, the Commissioner, there's also, this has been tested in other parts of the country and overseas. They install cameras where they can catch your speed and they can send you the ticket directly to your home.
I'm open to that. I would love to. Can we do that?
I disagree with that totally. I tell you, I'm gonna mention something really. It's important for the resident of the area to where the speed happening. if they could at least make up the car, the color, in what time. The time, it's very important because sometimes the speeder, they go into work or coming from work or on the weekend. If they get that information to the police department, I guarantee you they will be successful and catch those violators. You know, and we have incident where I live every day, 4 o'clock in the morning, hot rod car with loud muffler, and he go through the neighborhood, wake up the whole neighborhood every day. So finally, the police recommended to us to give him the time, the makeup of the car. Within less than 4 days, they caught him. They just have undercover police officer wait in the middle of the street and mark a car on the end of the street. And here at the same time, he's coming flying. And they caught him right there. That would put the end of the violation with that violator. So the citizen need to get involved a little bit to give the police department the information, the accurate information, and I guarantee you they will have a positive result.
Okay, so we put this on today to begin the discussion. So I think we have begun this discussion on this. If anybody doesn't have any more comments, and I'm leaving this open. This is, you know, I mean, we can discuss this at any time. And like I said to Commissioner Daub, I'd be happy to go out and look at these streets with anybody. But if I'll open it up for any last comments before we go to the next item of the bridge and road flooding. Does anybody have anything else before we?
I recommend to Commissioner Daub to get the police department and the area involved. Let them give their opinion. Let's discuss that. They might come up with different idea. They might not, but they should be involved in that.
I have involved them, Commissioner, but thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Let's go on now to the second item here that Commissioner Haddis and Commissioner Baydoun had brought up about the flooding in their area, especially under bridges. I'm hearing, can everybody put themselves on mute if they're not involved in our discussion? Thank you. Okay, so Commissioner Haddis or Commissioner Baydoun, do you want to start this discussion on this?
Well, you know, go ahead. No, go ahead.
When we had the substantial amount of rain not too long ago, Steve Shea was kind enough to meet me on the south end of Dearborn. There's several bridges in Dearborn, specifically like on Wyoming, which is County Road, and sometimes also the one on Greenfield. When we have a lot of rain, the bridges, you know, the water fills up there. I don't know if it's a problem where the system is not capable of intaking all of this water. I know Steve told me that it's on the plan to put a pump station at that area near the south end of Dearborn, but my understanding also it's going to cost a lot of money. But there has to be a way where we can, some of these neighborhoods become impassable. People cannot access these neighborhoods because of the flooding. So it's something that we need to look at. I understand we have a lot of priorities, if you will, on bridges and roads in Wayne County, but this is on the south end of Dearborn. This is a big deal for the residents.
Mr. Haddis?
Yes, you know, to me, it is important for public safety, for the safety of the people, when you have a water, it just almost hit the bottom of the car, and people going to work or taking their kids to school, or we need to find those a spot that exceed the normal flooding, and try to find solution for those area to make sure the traffic have the ability to pass it through that area without having their car shut off on them or in the middle of the water or that. So I think the county have the ability to, through the drain commission, through the road, to find those spots and working on solution to be presented to the commission in the future, wherever the cost it is. It's a problem, doesn't go away if we ignore it. We need to do something about it because it is important to the people who cross those areas. So, and as Sam mentioned, he trying to work with Mr. Shea and working with the public service. Mrs. Watt know this has been on the table, and I think we need to give him a chance to study it and report to us on what's the solution, what could be done, how many area affected in Wayne County in that problem. So
that's a good question. That's a good question, Commissioner. Steve, I think, are you aware, or Ron, are you aware of like major county roads underneath the bridges that flood when we have substantial amount of rain?
Why don't we bring the administration on now, whoever's supposed to discuss this, and you can go ahead.
So good morning, Commission, again.
Good morning.
Again, when I met Commissioner Beydoun the day that we had torrential downpours, literally we had 2 inches of rainfall intensity per hour. And that just makes it extremely difficult for any system to handle that much runoff. Which caused a major flood in some of the roads and bridges that Commissioner Beydoun was talking about. In saying that, this is one of the reasons that here at Roads Division, we are taking the initiative to repair our pump stations, to go ahead with all the rehab and repair of our pump stations. One of the biggest issues is that when you have that much rainfall intensity and flooding, is that pump stations usually try to pump out the water to the nearest canals or through transmission lines and try to get rid of some of the water and ease off the pressure. So one of the good things again is we have that you guys already approved that we were getting ready to rehab 14 pump stations just for that reason, so we can maintain and deal with some of the flood issues.
Yeah, so those 14 pump stations, yes, because we just did approve that. Would that help a significant part of the county miles with this type of flooding, which sounds somewhat rare? I mean, but we do have torrential.
Absolutely. If those pumps stop working, God forbid, we're going to have a major disaster. So that's why it's really important, you know, that we're moving the way we are moving, as to try to make the necessary repairs and make sure that these pumps are functioning accordingly.
How long will it take? Is this an ongoing thing with these pumps? How long will it take to get them? Are any of them not working at this point?
No, they're functioning, but okay. They just need a repair, Commission.
So the areas that Commissioner Beydoun and Commissioner Haddis are talking about, would these repairs help the areas that they're concerned about?
Once again, you know, pump houses are usually made of different types of pumps, electrical issues. So we have a list that we're following and through the maintenance program. And we are making every attempt to fix and repair these pump stations.
Steve, to that point, are you aware, I know you told me that there needs to be a pump station near Wyoming there by the bridge. Are you aware of any other close proximity where there is a pump station for the south end of Dearborn?
I have to look into that, Commissioner. I can happily get back with you on that.
Okay.
Steve,
a lot of these roads also, when they were designed, Steve, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, when they were designed back when in the 40s and 50s, they were not designed to handle all of this traffic and all of the amount of rain, I guess you could say that, right? I mean, every time you redesign a road, you do update the system, correct?
Yes, correct.
Madam the Chair.
Yes.
To this point is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Shia, the separation of the sewage from the rivers and lake, the SOS programs, there's some municipality behind on that. Do you think if some of the municipalities start do those separation would enhance the water flow on those roads?
I don't have much information on that, Commissioner, but I know when we deal with pump station, we're dealing with stormwater only, not both sanitary. It's just basically stormwater.
Yeah, the separation, it is deal with stormwater, and because there's some municipality comply with the non-funded mandate by the federal government in the early 90s, and those who comply and did the project, they have a less flooding in basement in the road, and it seemed to me it enhanced the flow of the stormwater because a lot of them require to have extra tank capacity, 1 million gallon or 2 million, depend on the size of the city, when the system overflow and that water go to that tank, and then they release it as the sewage capacity increase. So I don't know the certain area if they comply already with those or not. That might be a factor on the flooding too.
Steve, how much is it cost to put like a pump station in? Like if there was an area that didn't have one?
Usually, according to the information from MDOT, it's usually about $4 to $5 million.
Okay. Okay, so you're going to get back to Commissioner. Well, you can get back to all of us
yes,
about the one in the area he's concerned about in South Dearborn.
Yes, ma'am. I will definitely do that.
Okay.
So we'll add a pump station to the road bridge, the Miller Road and Miller Bridge, and the pump station at the south end of Dearborn. Thank you, Steve.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Better start playing the lotto. Any other discussion on this? Questions? I'm glad you guys brought these forward just for the benefit of all of us.
Commissioner Marecki, this is Patrick Cullen.
Yes.
I've been laying quiet here for a couple of minutes, but I just wanted to make a couple of comments, if that's okay.
Sure.
Related to this discussion. One, Steve had mentioned earlier about the intense rainfall amounts, and I can affirm what he said. And over the last several years, what we have seen is an increase in the intensity, in the frequency and the intensity of storms. We haven't seen nice, steady rains like we've had over the last couple of days where you have low amounts over a longer period of time. What we've seen are flash floods, very intense storms that produce a lot of volume of rainfall. And that really taxes all of our systems, the storm sewers, the sanitary sewers, the county drains. And so some of these flooding effects are a result of that. And frankly, it is a result of climate change. If you take a step back and look at the bigger picture as to what's happening with rainfall amounts specifically. We had an event in July where we had nearly 2 inches of rain in less than an hour in the Southgate Wyandotte area, just as one example. And we rarely see those things, but we're seeing them more frequently. The second thing I wanted to mention, Commissioner Haddis is right about CSO areas and communities that have not done separation of storm and sanitary. That does have an impact on local flooding because those systems have a reduced capacity to handle those volumes. Most of the communities in Western Wayne County have separated. There's still a lot of separation going on. And I know Dearborn is kind of a mix of CSO and non-CSO. Much of Detroit is still combined, and Detroit's working on their issues separately. But I would agree with Commissioner Haddis that CSO areas can be a challenge. And then the last thing I wanted to mention to the commissioners, sort of as a preview and a heads up, is that DPS has been working for more than a year on a revised stormwater ordinance and updated stormwater standards that's going to impact new construction projects. Because we recognize and realize that the amount of flow that's going into the system has a big impact on local flooding. So we're working on that now. We're getting very close to being done with it, and we'll be bringing that to the commission. We're hoping by the end of the year.
Okay, that's interesting.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Commissioner Daub. Can I ask Patrick one quick question on that?
Sure.
Patrick, does they have the updated stormwater ordinance or the code? Does that have anything to do with the drain code? Or is the drain code set by the state?
The drain code is state legislation.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you.
Patrick, I have a question. When this type of flooding happens, how long does it take to, after the rain stops, how long does it take to rectify itself?
How long does it take to dewater?
Yes, dewater, is that the word?
Yeah, the answer, of course, it depends. It depends on what the volume of rain was, what the outlet for the rainwater is, whether it's a storm sewer or a natural water course, whether there's something else impeding the reduction of the water. Sometimes, on the drains, for example, we'll have clogged trash racks that are impeding flow. And even though it stopped raining, you still have a pool of water that's backing up the system at some point. Or, in Rhodes' case, you could have a failed pump that needs to be rectified. So it depends, the U.S. Geological Service and the state, and we monitor, we have monitors on river levels and rain gauges. And so we can look at those levels and get get a hint of where things are at any given time. For big heavy rain events, it can take a week or more before you're back down to your standard river level, just as an example. But that is something that we do keep an eye on. I wish we could control the rain. If we could control the weather, things would be a lot different.
Okay. Well, thank you. Commissioners, do you have any other comments, questions with the administration? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And again, we can always, bring anything to this committee if people want to bring up these subject matters again. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
E, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
Okay, any such other matters? Okay, next item.
Public comments.
Okay, have we received any emails directed to this committee?
No emails.
Okay, I don't see anybody in the chat. Okay, can you unmute everybody and we'll see if anybody from the public would like to address us?
Yes, everyone's unmuted now.
Okay, thank you. Anybody from the public that would like to address the Committee on Public Services? Did I hear someone? Okay, anyone from the public that would like to address us? One more time, anyone from the public? Okay, I hear no one. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Adjournment.
Okay.
So move.
Right.
Support.
We have approval and support to adjourn. We are now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, so I'm going to see if Sam